Hey, what's up guys, Hans here. Yes, you read that right. I have bought my very own and my very first rental property. In this video, I will tell you about why I'm buying it, what I'm planning on doing with it, and as you're on my channel, I know that you're interested in the financials. We will also talk about the financials of my rental property. In particular, we will have a look at how much I paid for the apartment, how much income it generates, and how long it will take me to pay back the loan. But now, let's get into the video. Let's rewind. Let me just quickly elaborate on the structure of this video. First, why am I buying a rental property? Excellent question. Duh, because I came up with it myself. Jokes aside, there are many reasons as to why I want to invest my money in this asset class. First, I was always interested in real estate. I even worked as a plasterer when I was in high school. But when I was younger, I always told myself that I do want to have my own rental property once I am older. And the earliest you can invest in real estate in Germany is usually when you have your first full-time and indefinite job, meaning that you're not only temporarily employed, for example, for 2 years, which is often the case in Germany. Now, since I have been working for roughly 1.5 years now since I graduated college, and since I do have one of these indefinite contracts, meaning that my company could hardly fire me, I figured investing in real estate at this moment is a pretty good timing for me. Another important reason as to why I want to invest in real estate is that it gives you a lot of flexibility with regard to your finances. Just to give you an example, over here in Germany you can sell your property tax-free after you held it for at least 10 years. Therefore, after 10 years, I can decide whether I want to keep the apartment or sell it again. For example, if I feel like the real estate prices are rather high and if I then want to take my money out of the market. Also, another big pro is that you can decide yourself whether you want to renovate the apartment at some point and invest more money into it, which can also be tax beneficial in the respective year. And therefore, to summarize, buying real estate in Germany and I guess in pretty much every other country opens up opportunities for you to financially sort of play around and move money as you like. Therefore, getting into real estate was just obvious for me. Lastly, another reason is that I do want to diversify my asset classes. As you might have heard me talk about in other videos, such as in this one, I rent out and invest in storage containers, which generates an additional income for me. Also, I do own several stock portfolios, some gold, crypto, and other asset classes. By the way, if you're interested in what these asset classes look like and how much money I invested into each of these asset classes, let me know in the comment section below. But now let's get back to the main topic. Also, I wanted to start off with a smaller apartment to just get to know the whole buying process, which can be a bit complicated over here in Germany. And even if I were to make some financial mistakes, they would not be as significant as compared to a larger sized apartment and thus investment. Now, if you're closely following the real estate market, the general economy and more, you might also ask yourself whether it would be a bad timing for me to buy real estate property, given, for example, the high interest rates at the moment compared to, let's say, 1 or 2 years ago. And that is definitely a valid point. In the end, you are obviously always smarter after a few years, but I'm confident to say that given the financials, this would be a good investment for me. And we will get to the exact financials in a second. Now, let's have a closer look at the property which I just bought. The apartment is located in the beautiful city of Freiburg in the south of Germany. Over here, the real estate prices are rather high, and for small flats, for example, 30 square meters or 300 square foot, you would pay between 100 and 200k. Now, examining the micro location of the apartment, and the apartment is located in the city center, it takes roughly 15 minutes by foot to get to the main train station. And I gotta be honest here, the surroundings of the apartment are not the nicest. There are some industrial properties nearby, and there's even a gas station right next to it. Now, in summary, there are definitely nicer locations in the city. However, the proximity to the city center itself and, for example, the university is really why I am investing here. I bought a small 27 square meter or roughly 270 square foot apartment, 1-bedroom flat, for which I paid 105,000 euros. And that does not yet include the additional costs, which I will elaborate on later. As you can see in the picture, the flat has a tiny kitchen area and a small bathroom, and then the living room and the bedroom area. And lastly, you do have a decent sized balcony outside. The building itself was built in the 80s, and the apartment itself has only been slightly renovated in the past. And this is why the bathroom and the kitchen is still unchanged. In the future, I will definitely renovate it just to make sure that it looks more appealing. And I guess that this would cost me around 5,000 euros. But now let's get into the financials. As I just mentioned, I bought the apartment for 105,000 euros, which is comparatively cheap. Similar sized apartments in Freiburg usually go for 140 to 200k, depending on their condition and obviously their exact location. Therefore, what can be noted up front is that I have negotiated the price down to a level which I would value as being underpriced. Now, in Germany, there are also a range of other costs which add up once you buy real estate. For example, you usually have to pay the realtor with about roughly 3.5% of the transaction price. Then the notary is being paid 1.5%, and then there's also a significant property transfer tax of 5.5%. Therefore, if you add up all of these costs to the transaction price of the real estate itself, the overall investment amounts to roughly 116.5 thousand euros. Now, let's go one level deeper. To calculate whether the investment makes sense for me, and for comparison purposes, I used this form to calculate the cash flow, return on investment, monthly debt service, and so on. For me, it was important that the apartment is cash flow neutral, meaning that I would not have to contribute any more money, for example, on a monthly basis, except from the initial investment. This then means that the rent I get covers the monthly debt service. Now, as you can see in this calculation, my cash flow is negative 54 euros per month, which is very close to being cash flow neutral, and therefore that's fine for me. But before we go any deeper, let us have a look at the financing structure on which this whole calculation is based. For the roughly 116k, I am financing 58k from my local bank at an interest rate of 3.9% for 10 years. In addition, I'm financing 30k from friends and family at an interest rate of only 2%. This then means that I'm bringing in roughly 29,000 euros of my own money as an initial investment. If I would reduce this amount and let's say only invest 15k of my own money, I would obviously have to get a bigger loan from my local bank, for which I would then have to pay more interest in absolute terms, and which would have decreased my cash flow even more, which, as you might remember, is not really my plan. As you can also see here, the net rent accumulates to 440 euros per month, and I expect the rent to increase over the coming years as there are still so many people looking for apartments in Freiburg. Now, overall, at the moment, and with the numbers I just provided you, my overall gross yield is 5%, and that is really a rather high number for Freiburg. Now, assuming a 2% increase in value per year, thus being equal to the inflation target rate of 2% in the euro area, my return on equity is already almost at 12%. Now, this calculation obviously depends on many assumptions. Will this exact case really come to pass? Probably not, but it gives me a nice indication of where it might be in 10 or 20 years. Obviously, the exact outcome will depend on many more variables. After all, no one knows what the real estate market will look like in a few years from now. And even though I'm aware of possible future interest rate hikes and therefore declining property values, I really think that this is a great investment for me and for my current situation. Can the financing structure be improved? Let me know in the comments. And I think absolutely. Depending on how I want to spend things, I could have also gotten a bigger loan and not bring in as much of my own money to use the leverage effect even more and to also benefit from tax advantages. For example, I could have only invested 10% of my own money, hence 12,000 euros, and financed the rest. In this case, the cash flow would be very negative due to the high interest I'm paying on that loan, and from a tax perspective, the negative cash flow would be subtracted from my rather high income as a consultant. And as there are roughly 100 apartments like mine in the building, I could easily buy additional units in the future, for example, also with different financing structures, to then optimize my overall financing approach. Alright guys, that's the end of this week's video. If you're interested in this topic and how my other investments work, for example my side hustle in which I rent out storage space, subscribe to this channel. Also, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button below. Are you thinking about buying real estate? Then leave a comment down below and tell me what markets you're looking into. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time. Take care.